Hello again. Today we're going to make banana and fig wine. This, as we have said before on other videos, is a straightforward recipe to follow. So prior to starting, let's see what equipment we need. For the first stage we're going to use a 2-gallon bin with a sealable lid, a set of scales, measuring spoons, a coarse straining bag, a funnel and a 2-pint jug. All the equipment needs to be sterilised, and to achieve this we have used a Camden tablet solution. To make a gallon of wine, the ingredients you will need are 2 pounds of bananas, 2 pounds of dried figs, 3 pounds of sugar, any wine yeast, and the additives are half a teaspoon of grape tannin, 1/4 ounce of tartaric acid, 2 vitamin B1 tablets of 3 mg size, 1 teaspoon of pectolase and 1 teaspoon of yeast nutrient. Do not worry about making notes just now, as these ingredients will be listed at the end of this video. We always like to use a yeast starter, a video for which you can find on our YouTube channel. This yeast starter will be made with orange juice. Fill a pan with 5 pints of water and allow it to come to the boil. Now to the bananas. Quite simply, remove the stalks and then cut each banana into 1/2-inch slices, including the skin. Now the water's boiling, we want to transfer the slices into the water and allow to simmer for 30 minutes, which I shall now do. Now, while that is boiling, chop the figs and place them into the bin along with the sugar. Having simmered for half an hour, we now strain the liquor from the bananas through the filter bag, and then after that pour it over the figs and the sugar. We will need to leave this to cool before the next step, so we place the lid on the bin and leave for 24 hours until the yeast starter is ready. Here we are 24 hours later. Now, with the liquid in the bin at room temperature and the yeast starter active, we take the additives and place them in the bin. Firstly, half a teaspoon of grape tannin. Next, 1/4 ounce of tartaric acid, which is the equivalent of 1 heaped teaspoon. Two vitamin B1 tablets to crush between 2 spoons . One teaspoon of pectolase . Remember, unless otherwise specified, teaspoon measures are level. And lastly, 1 teaspoon of yeast nutrient. And now to add the yeast starter and stir in with all the additives. The bin should now be left covered in a warm place to ferment on the pulp for 5 days, stirring daily. And now I add the yeast starter. And finally, stir all those ingredients in together. Here we are 5 days later. We now continue the process by straining the liquid from the figs. What's needed is a clean gallon jar, a funnel, a coarse mesh straining bag and an airlock with a rubber bum. Pour the contents of the bin slowly through the straining bag and the funnel into the gallon jar. Leave the straining bag to drain totally without squeezing, as we want to reduce the amount of fine pulp and seeds being transferred to the jar. While this is happening, make sure that the top of the funnel is covered. When all of the liquid has been transferred to the jar, top up with cold water to the neck if necessary and fit the airlock. The jar should now be placed in a warm area and left to ferment to dryness or a specific gravity of 1000 or less. The length of time that the wine will continue to ferment will of course depend on a number of factors. Here we are 5 weeks later, which is a little longer than we would have expected, and there are no more bubbles coming through the airlock. So, if you think that the wine has finished fermenting, it should be checked before the next step. To check the wine, you will need a hydrometer and a trial jar. Siphon wine from the gallon jar into the trial jar and take a reading with the hydrometer. take a reading, lower the hydrometer into the trial jar and spin it gently. If the reading shows a specific gravity of 1000 or less, then the fermentation is probably complete. And we have a reading of 1000. Now, we need to return the wine from the trial jar into the gallon jar and add 1 crushed Camden tablet or a level 1/4 teaspoon of Camden powder, which is what we shall do here. Now we must leave that for 24 hours. Hello, here we are 24 hours later to siphon the wine into a clean gallon jar. We use a siphon tube attached to the end of the plastic tubing. Siphon the wine into the new jar, taking care not to transfer any sediment there might be from the bottom of the donor jar. Now, to top up the jar with cold water, just to fill that space, and fit a board cork plugged with cotton wool. The wine will now start to settle and clear when placed into a cooler environment, such as a kitchen floor or something similar. This wine will normally clear by itself and does not need anything to be added. If your wine is a little cloudy, then rack again after 3 months. This may be due to banana pulp, which is in fact a fairly safe pulp, and it will gradually clear downwards, leaving a star-bright wine above. When the wine is clear, it may need to be sweetened. Should you need to do this, you should use a sugar solution prior to bottling. Transfer to clean bottles and leave to mature for at least 6 further months to a year. The transfer is done using the same siphoning process as before, being careful to leave at least ½ an inch between the bottom of the cork and the top of the wines in the bottle. We wish you all the best with your winemaking and hope that this process that you have watched today will help you. Our online winemaking help site is available to answer any questions that you may have and is a free service that we offer.